Welcome to College Game Day with Hick the Stick for Week 11 of the college football season. Earlier this week, we had the first college football playoff rankings released. We have a new number one team in the nation. We have a couple of top 25 matchups, and they are some good ones. And then we have a top 5 matchup, number 2 against number 3. Well, the streak came to an end last week. No top 10 team lost to a non-ranked team. Utah almost lost to Washington, and I predicted that, but they didn't. They beat Washington. That's why I went 9-3 last week, making my total prediction for this year 133 games right and 38 games wrong, hoping to make it 200 games right by the end of the season. Well, our first game, number 12, Baylor versus TCU. Now, TCU is at home, and I think they'll be prepared for this game against the Baylor Bears. But the Baylor Bears, they're hungry. They want to keep that undefeated season alive. They want to keep that win streak alive. They get the win over the Horned Frogs. Baylor beats TCU. Maryland versus number 1 Ohio State, the new number 1 team in the nation. The Buckeyes are a complete team on offense and on defense. Now, I don't see them losing on the road, and I definitely do not see them losing at home. They get the win over Maryland. Ohio State beats Maryland. Vanderbilt versus number 10, Florida. Now, Florida played a close one against Georgia last week and almost won, but they didn't. They got their second loss of the season. Now they're at home against Vanderbilt. What happens this week? Well, they bounce back and beat Vanderbilt. The Gators get it done. East Carolina versus number 25, SMU. SMU got behind big against Memphis last week, but they fought their way back all the way to an onside kick to decide maybe they could win the game, but they didn't get it. Memphis gets the win, giving SMU their first loss of the season. Now, what do they do this week against East Carolina? Well, they're at home. They beat East Carolina. SMU gets the win. Number 19, Wake Forest versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech lost by 1 point against Notre Dame last week. What do they do this week against Wake Forest at home? Well, I'm calling the upset. Virginia Tech beats Wake Forest. Number 19, Wake Forest loses to Virginia Tech. UConn versus number 20, Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati got a scare last week and almost lost, but they didn't. They still have 1 loss in their loss column, and they want to keep that 1 loss because if they lose another game, I just don't maybe see them making that conference championship game. They need to win this week against UConn, and they will. Cincinnati beats UConn. Missouri versus number 6, Georgia. Georgia beat the Gators last week. The Bulldogs got it done. They're at home against Missouri this week. What happens? Well, the Bulldogs beat Missouri. Georgia wins the game. Number 5, Clemson versus North Carolina State. Now, Clemson, they're number 5 in the nation right now. And if the season ended right now, they will not make the college football playoffs. But the good thing for Clemson is that Penn State still has to play Ohio State. And LSU still has to play Alabama. And that happens this week. So Clemson just needs to run the table, go undefeated, and they'll make the college football playoffs. They beat North Carolina State. Number 15, Notre Dame versus Duke. Notre Dame won by 1 point against Virginia Tech. What do they do this week against Duke? Well, Duke, they're known for basketball, not football. Notre Dame gets the win over Duke, and I don't see it is not going to be close. Iowa State versus number 9, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is at home this week against Iowa State. This is a Big 12 matchup. It's going to be fun to watch, but Oklahoma gets the win when it's all said and done. Wyoming versus number 22, Boise State. Now, Boise State's got that beautiful blue turf field, and they want to protect it, and they want to protect home field. They win the game over Wyoming. The game of the week, number 16, Kansas State versus Texas. Now, I know my Longhorns are no longer ranked, but Kansas State is. They're number 16 in the nation. Texas has lost 2 games in the past couple weeks to Oklahoma and TCU. They had an off week last week. They're ready to bounce back at home. They want to get that win for their fans, and I'm giving it to my Longhorns. They get the win over Kansas State and a close one. Number 4, Penn State versus number 17, Minnesota. This is a top 25 matchup. 2 undefeated teams playing each other. Minnesota has not played a tough team this year, but Penn State has. Minnesota is at home. It's going to be a close one, but I'm giving the win to Penn State. They beat Minnesota. Another top 25 match, number 18 Iowa versus number 13 Wisconsin. Wisconsin's at home. They got that one loss. Iowa's got two. Now, if Wisconsin wants to make the Big Ten championship game, they need to just leave that one in the loss column. Wisconsin's got to win this game this week. I think their defense will step up big and they will play good. They get the win at home against Iowa. Our top 5 game of the week. Number 2 LSU versus number 3 Alabama. What a game this will be. It'll be fun to watch. Joe Burrow is going to have a Heisman game. I see Tua playing this game. I don't see how he does not play this game. Tua plays the game. This is going to be fun to watch. Number 3 against number 2. Now, who gets the win? LSU gets the win over Bama. And I'm calling this an upset because whoever beats Alabama, that's an upset. So LSU beats Bama and gives them their first loss of the season. Well, that's all I got here on College Game Day with Hick the Stick for week 11 of the college football season. I'll see you week 12 of our 150th college football season.